Hi, everyone. Thank you for joining us for another eMarketer Tech Talk, where we host amazing guests from all areas of media, ad tech, and MarTech. I'm Sara Lebow, Senior Analyst of Media Content at eMarketer. Today, we're discussing the findings from an Impact.com survey executed by eMarketer, highlighting what drives consumers to buy and how they make their purchase decisions. I'm joined today by Cristy Gracia, CMO at Impact.com. Hi, Cristy.
Hey, Sarah, thanks for having me.
Thank you for joining us today. Before we get into it, a message to our audience, let's keep it conversational. Just use the chat window on the right to tell us where you're joining from and to submit your questions. We'll do our best to get to as many of your live questions as we can during the Q&A, so please keep them coming. We have a great discussion planned for today about the shopper journey. The journey from discovery to purchase isn't a straight and simple path, though marketers and retailers wish it were. The consumer journey is long and winding, involving in-person and online interactions across platforms owned by brands and publishers alike. And that makes attribution really difficult. To better understand these journeys and to uncover what makes people decide to buy, eMarketer and Impact.com surveyed more than 1,000 US adults, focusing on what drives customers to buy and how they arrive at those decisions. So with that, Cristy, let's dig into the results of our survey. Our research from the survey showed that 69.3% of customers discover new products weekly. What's your perspective on how this rapid discovery is changing marketing?
Well, it's definitely changing marketing. Great question. The fact that nearly 70% of consumers discover new products weekly really underscores that we're in an era of continuous discovery, where consumers are receiving relevant information from a plethora of sources, making the traditional linear marketing funnel kind of like fundamentally broken, if you will. The shift challenges brands to rethink their strategies. It's no longer about guiding customers step by step, but about being omnipresent across touch points to be engage and convert wherever and whenever discovery happens. I feel like the rapid discovery also highlights the importance of authentic connections through trusted channels. This is where affiliate marketing plays a pivotal role, as it allows brands to leverage the trust of influence and influence of creators, publishers, partners, right, who are already engaging with your consumers. By collaborating with affiliates, brands can tap into moments of discovery, whether that's through a blog, a social media post, a product review, and they can provide personalized, relevant content that drives not just awareness, but action. I really think the key lies in turning discovery into conversion by building a seamless journey from intrigue to purchase. It means optimizing content for every stage of the funnel, the new customer journey, if you will, investing in data-driven insights to predict consumer behavior, and ensuring that affiliate partnerships align with brand values and also, importantly, resonate with your target audience. Brands that focus on these things, authenticity, agility, strategic partnerships, I believe they're the ones that are going to be best positioned to convert, what is fleeting attention into longer-term loyalty.
Yeah, and I think it's so important that that conversion is possible at any step. We found in the survey that consumers typically engage with a brand at least 3 times before buying. How can marketers make the most of all of these multiple touch points?
Yeah, that was an interesting stat. I think the 3 touch points represent critical, moments of truth that can really determine whether a customer chooses your brand or moves on to a competitor. I think the best marketers understand that these interactions aren't isolated. They're opportunities to create a connected, cohesive journey that builds that trust, reinforces value, and addresses key purchase drivers. To make the most of these 3 touch points, brands need to focus on 3 strategies that I came up with. It won't be a surprise, again, to marketers. Personalization across channels. Each touch point should really feel tailored to a customer's needs and context. If a customer's first interaction, for example, is through an influencer showcasing that product, the next touch point, such as a review on a media site, should deepen their understanding of the product's benefits. And maybe a targeted offer, such as discount or free shipping at the right time, can address any lingering hesitation and nudge them towards purchase. But personalization ensures that every interaction feels relevant and purposeful. Next, value-driven messaging. It's not enough to repeat the same message across touch points. We all know as marketers, we do need to repeat messages, but each interaction should be adding value, right? And moving the customer closer to conversion. So progressively building on a customer's knowledge and interest, I think brands can create a really compelling narrative that resonates at every single stage. And lastly, I already talked about it, but affiliate marketing is a really powerful way to enhance these touch points. Influencers, content creators, and publishers are trusted voices that can amplify a brand's message while aligning it perfectly with the customer journey. So another example, maybe a consumer encounters a product via an influencer, right, who's showing it off for the first time. Then they go to a blog post for more information and finally convert, at a discount coupon site. These partners not only drive traffic, but they're contributing to building trust and credibility along the journey, which are essential for converting engagement into sales. So they're more than touch points, they're moments to build a relationship, is how I look at them.
Yeah, and they're all different moments. I think that's such a good point. It's not the same thing happening 3 times. It's 3 individual moments.
Right.
Not only the moments are individual, so are the shoppers. Our research identified 2 types of shoppers, habitual and experimental. What do you think these different shopping styles mean for brands?
Well, I think the good news is they're both open to discovering new products, but their behaviors, motivations, and path to purchase are going to differ significantly. Let's talk about habitual shoppers. They tend to gravitate towards products and brands they know and trust. For this group, discovery really only happens when a compelling reason arises to deviate from their established routine. They require reassurance that trying something new won't disrupt their habits or compromise on quality. So how do you engage these buyers? Emphasize trust and reliability by using social proof with customer testimonials. Introduce small incentives, make it easy for them to try by giving discounts, free samples, or risk-free trials. It will nudge them along. And then, don't forget to highlight the incremental improvements, messaging that showcases how a product offers added value, such as a greater convenience or better results compared to their current solution. That would be very highly effective for this group. Moving on to the experimental shoppers, they really thrive on discovery and actively seeking out fresh, innovative, or really unique products. They're drawn to creativity, storytelling, and the sense of excitement that comes with something new. For this group, it's not about convincing them to buy. It's about how do you stand out in this crowded marketplace with all these other products. So how do you engage in that environment? Invest in bold creative campaigns, eye-catching visuals, immersive storytelling. Influencer marketing plays a role here. Partnering with creators, typically they're tastemakers, right? They can help position your product as a must-try experience in the way that they know how to with their audience. And lastly, keep offerings fresh. Launch things like limited edition products, seasonal collections, exclusive collaborations to really maintain that excitement and sense of urgency. But both of these shoppers drive significant purchase volume. Neglecting either group is a mistake. You have habitual shoppers who are offering long-term loyalty and predictability, where experimental shoppers are more likely to share their discoveries, right? Driving word of mouth and brand awareness. But I think a balanced approach really resonates with diverse audiences here.
Yeah, definitely value in both audience. No such thing as a shopper that isn't engaged in any way. Both habitual and experimental are discovering new products. We also discovered that high-income consumers often research products 5 or more times before purchase. How can brands adapt their strategies for different customer groups like this one?
Yeah, so this audience is really looking for reassurance that they're making the best possible choice. That's why they're doing so much research. They demand a higher level of detail, credibility, validation. To successfully engage this segment, brands need to adopt strategies to cater to this research-driven behavior while providing a seamless, informed path to purchase. Decision-making is not transactional for this group. It's experiential. They want to feel confident and satisfied at every step, especially at the end. So reaching this, affluent audience, again, providing comprehensive product information, detailed product specifications, in-depth descriptions, performance comparisons. They're investing in value, quality, and status, not just the product. Ensure your website has robust content and side-by-side comparisons. Offer downloadable guides, specs, white papers. Give them the research that they're seeking. Secondly, and I I can't say this strongly enough. This is really the number one thing in my mind, but leverage that expert validation. Cultivate partnerships with reviewers, bloggers, content creation who specialize in your category. Highlight accolades, awards that you've won. Collaborate with influencers who resonate with their audience and can authentically vouch for your product. Lastly, emphasize comparison tools. It's integral to the research phase and process for this group. So make it easy for them to weigh options, and that really helps to increase trust and reduce friction. So again, the side-by-side comparison charts highlight the unique selling propositions, the key differentiators, and transparently and fairly point out how your product is the best choice. I think that those three strategies. And I can't forget to personalize the journey, right?
Mm.
So making sure you're tailoring your content for this affluent shopper. But I think those are the ways that you can kind of reach and engage them while they're in their research process.
Yeah, you mentioned earlier influencers being tastemakers, and I definitely think that this is an area where they have that opportunity and where consumers want to trust the creators that they
Right.
already feel like they have relationships with.
Sure.
High-income consumers aren't the only ones doing their research. Our data showed that 22.8% of all customers research products 5 or more times before buying. What does that tell us about how shopping habits are changing?
Yeah. So for sure, we're seeing increased information seeking behavior, right? I always say today's consumer is the most informed consumer of all time. They're spending more time gathering information, reading reviews, comparing products, evaluating prices. It could have to do with how easy it is to find this stuff online. I think it largely has to do with what other people are saying and why that's important. But they have higher expectations for transparency. Shoppers are demanding transparency regarding the quality, brand reputation, and experiences of others. They want brands to be honest and provide detailed, clear information about their offerings, because it's no longer up to what the brand says. It's up to what everybody else says.
Mhm.
And so informed decision making is really important. Educate them, make sure that you're they're researching across platforms such as websites, social media, and stores. So make sure that you're consistently in those places. And lastly, I think it really shows that trust in peer reviews and influencers is going through the roof. The reliance of online research could also indicate that shoppers really trust this type of content, definitely more so than traditional advertising. So I think brands can be everywhere the consumer is searching, but these types of shoppers are requiring more information than the average.
Yeah, that's so important also that you said they're researching across websites and in store. A lot of times you have that research happening in one place, but the purchase happening in an entirely different channel. Why is it so important for brands to understand where their consumers discover and research products?
Yeah, as a CMO, I know this well, but it directly impacts marketing return on investment. Knowing where your consumers discover and research products allows brands to invest the marketing dollars in the channels that drive the greatest impact. Without that, you're flying blind. I'd also say that it informs budget allocation, right? A clear understanding of discovery and research channels ensures brands allocate resources wisely and avoid blind spots. You can oversaturate here. Um, Long-term strategy. If the discovery and research landscape is dynamic and it's influenced by consumer behaviors, new technologies, and evolving platforms. So staying ahead of the shifts, like the growing role of AI-powered recommendations, for example, or the increasing influence of social commerce. These brands are going to be well positioned to meet customers where they are.
Yeah, it's so important that you know where your money is being well spent, so you're not overspending in channels, and so you're not leaving potential conversions on the table in other channels.
Exactly.
Something that really interested me in the survey we did was that price and value were the two dominating factors influencing purchase decisions. What does that mean, that focus on price and value, mean for marketers?
Yeah, it really underscores the importance of a nuanced approach. I think competing on price may seem like the obvious choice, but we know that it's a race to the bottom that erodes margins, and brand perception for that matter. Instead, brands need to focus on communicating value in ways that resonate with different customer segments and justify their pricing through clear differentiation and authentic connection. So 3 tips for them: articulate product benefits carefully and clearly. Strategically time your promotions. This is a big one. Offer discounts and bundles during key decision-making periods to incentivize purchases without diminishing brand etiquette. Use personalization to reward loyalty or target price-sensitive segments. Build and leverage brand equity by leveraging endorsements, reviews, or awards to reinforce the perception of value. Important to know, we're talking about price and value. Brands can command higher prices once they instill trust and emotional connection. So brand storytelling and that affinity for the brand is really helpful here.
Yeah, you want to have strategies that are outside of that race to the bottom so that you can protect your margins.
Exactly.
Okay, I'm going to ask you to take out your CMO crystal ball now. Looking ahead, what changes do you expect to see in how people discover and shop for products?
Right. So if I had a crystal ball, I would predict that shopping discovery is going to be seamlessly embedded into our daily digital experiences in ways that feel really intuitive and natural instead of intrusive like they do now. So I really think it's going to create more meaningful and engaging shopper journeys. So examples of what I think could happen in the future, and what we're already seeing happening. Contextual commerce is becoming more sophisticated, right? So an example of this in the future could be you're watching a YouTube video featuring a home makeover, and instantly you can click on the furniture, the decor in the video to view product details, availability, and purchase options. This I'm really excited about. The second, AI and predictive analytics make discovery personal and serendipitous. So today's, we all know those, you might also like algorithms. They're going to evolve into dynamic systems that truly understand preferences, habits, and real-time intent. So I also think AI is going to aid in serendipitous discovery, which is helping customers find products they didn't even know they needed, but are perfectly aligned with their tastes or goals. Based on recent browsing history, for example, a smart assistant could recommend a product during a casual conversation or suggest curated gift ideas ahead of special occasions. And the last, I'm really excited, and we're already seeing that, but that's the blurring of entertainment and commerce. So live shopping events where influencers or experts are showcasing products in real time or just the beginning. Gamified shopping, interactive stories. Example, a fashion brand could host a digital runway show where viewers can click to purchase outfits as models wear them, right? Or a fitness brand could create a live streamed workout session featuring shoppable equipment and gear. But as these changes take hold, the brands that thrive will be those that balance innovation with authenticity, because technology will make shopping easier, but it's the human connection, like we've talked about, whether through personalized recommendations, trusted creators, meaningful experiences, that's what builds lasting loyalty.
Yeah, I definitely agree that we're already seeing that blurring of shopping and entertainment. Cristy, thank you so much for sharing that great information. I know when we were doing the survey, it was very validating as someone who takes a lot of time between discovery and purchase to see this data about just how much research people do.
Mhm.
We've got quite a few questions from our audience, so let's get straight into our Q&A. First question we have is, with over 80% of retail dollars still spent in store, but most research happening online, what's your take on connecting these different shopping behaviors?
I don't know how anyone could do that without implementing O2O tracking. So it's an attribution model that connects digital touch points to offline sales. So there's tools that exist like promo codes, geofencing, QR codes that shoppers redeem in store, right? They would get them digitally. And that can help measure the impact of digital marketing on physical sales. I think it's really important to enhance localized digital experiences, right? So consumers that are researching online should receive tailored local information, real-time inventory available at nearby stores. How nice would that be? Special in-store promotions and buy online, pick up in-store options. So I think Google My Business, local SEO plays crucial roles there. Personalization and retargeting, right? Retailers should use AI-driven personalization to retarget online shoppers with relevant in-store shopping offers. If a customer is browsing a product online, for example, they could receive a mobile notification with an exclusive in-store discount at a near location. And then lastly, I would say drive in-store engagement and with loyalty and loyalty and mobile programs. So retailers can use mobile apps for a lot of things. To enhance the in-store experience is a really good one. Think AR for product trials, mobile checkouts for fast transactions, digital loyalty rewards. And by integrating these strategies, brands can really ensure that the online research phase seamlessly translates into in-store sales, maximizing both convenience for customers and retail performance.
Yeah, I think that flows really seamlessly into another question we got from the audience, which is that you mentioned personalizing the customer journey. At what point do responsive ads and targeting go from effective to creepy?
Isn't that a good question? I think retargeting can go too far. I've seen it. And I think the idea is that you don't want to oversaturate any of your channels. So if you're retargeting people, following them around on the internet, they're going to block you. So create content that's really relevant for them. Give it to them in a way that they want to receive the information. Not everybody wants to be targeted. So have multiple different content pieces available depending on which channel you're going to use to kind of bring it to life. But yeah, it can get creepy. So be careful.
Definitely get creepy. Yeah, definitely something that all advertisers need to watch out for.
Sure.
Turning back to social commerce and live shopping, we got a question. Social commerce and live shopping are growing rapidly. How do you see these new channels fitting into the customer journey?
So I feel like social commerce is supposed to eliminate friction between product awareness and purchase by integrating directly into the social platforms. So instead of researching something on social media and then having to go to a separate website, you can instantly buy within the same experience. So an example is Instagram shops, TikTok shops. I think driving urgency and entertainment through live shopping is important. Not everyone is on the bandwagon. I've seen Walmart and Sephora leveraging live shopping events to showcase products. They do it often with influencers or brand representatives to create a more personalized shopping experience. But live shopping can create that sense of urgency. Enhancing personalization and community building. So build stronger connections with your customers by engaging them directly in conversation, responding directly to their inquiries. And you can do that with AI chatbots on platforms like WhatsApp and Messenger. And lastly, we just talked about it, but connect online to offline experiences. You can integrate social commerce with physical stores by offering exclusive in-store discounts for social media followers, or enable kind of shop the look features that allow users to find and buy products they see in shopping events. So that's kind of how I would answer that question.
Yeah, so much of that live shopping future has to do with the future of TikTok, which we don't have any time to get into today. So I think it's just really engaging with the influencers consumers are following. Another question from the audience, this one's about age. Different age groups have distinct ways of discovering products. For example, consumers 60 years and older value family recommendations, while younger shoppers rely more on social proof. How can brands bridge this gap?
It's been difficult for a lot of brands to cater to different generations. But I think by leveraging a mix of influencer and community-based marketing, you can kind of do both. So younger shoppers, for example, they're relying on social proof, reviews, and influencer recommendations. Brands can partner with these people. They can encourage user-generated content. Older shoppers, right? They trust family, friends, and traditional word of mouth. So things like referral programs could play a big role here. Testimonials from real customers, expert endorsements. I think it's really important to implement hybrid digital and offline strategies. Younger consumers engage with brands through mobile-first experiences like interactive quizzes and social commerce, like we talked about. But older consumers may prefer traditional retail experiences, emails, in-store interactions. So brands, again, can integrate QR codes, mobile apps, email campaigns to cater to both, offer in-store consultations while providing online research tools, can ensure a seamless journey. I think social commerce and loyalty programs are relevant for all ages. So younger consumers, maybe it's gamified loyalty programs or mobile exclusive discounts and rewards for sharing that. Whereas older consumers, points-based rewards, personalized support, exclusive offers. And I also think encouraging cross-generational engagement is really important and critical. So brands that create campaigns that encourage intergenerational sharing, such as shop with a friend promotions, that's a good example of how to do that, or family-based referral discounts. And I think the final thought that I have is that between digital and transitional channels, the gap isn't choosing between those two. It's how do you create this flexible, inclusive strategy that meets each generation where they are, while encouraging this engagement across the board.
Yeah, that was something huge for me from this research is just how much for all generations influence comes from word of mouth. That really stood out to me. Hey, another question from the audience. How are you quantifying incremental growth from ad strategies when the customer journey is far from linear, crisscrossing so many platforms?
Could you repeat that? The
Yeah.
part of that?
Yeah, the question was, how are you quantifying incremental growth from ad strategies when the customer journey is far from linear, crisscrossing so many platforms? So how are we looking at that incremental growth from ads as customers are on digital and across a bunch of different platforms?
Yeah, I don't think we measure just ads. I know as on my team and when I talk to other marketers, it's really important to measure the in-person type of experiences in addition to the ads and look at it from a 360 angle. I think there are some great attribution and tracking tools out there that can measure this stuff. But it's a matter of how you use the data and implement it, right? Not just having access to it. So I think it is possible to see your effects and the impacts of your marketing. Ad strategies are tough. Sometimes you're right. They tend to get credit, because it's the last click. Doesn't necessarily mean that it, was present at the beginning of the journey, for example. So I think it's about looking at your strategy holistically and not separating ads from any other of the marketing channels that you're measuring.
Yeah, this is something I heard a lot, especially at like different conferences over the past year, is just having so much information isn't necessarily useful. In fact, it can be sort of a glut and provide confusion a lot of times. You need to be able to actually gain insights from that information.
100%.
Okay, another question from the audience. With discovery and purchase bouncing between online and offline channels, how can brands ensure they accurately measure where their customers are discovering and researching products?
Yeah,
Love that
again,
question.
yeah, it's a great question. It speaks exactly to this holistic data-driven attribution strategy that we've kind of been talking about a little bit today. So I believe brands should move from last click attribution and use multi-touch attribution. This is going to be how they identify online and offline touch points. First touch attribution, for example, identifies where they started the journey, the discovery channels. Multi-touch really assesses how ads, influencer marketing, and in-store visits can contribute to conversions. And lastly, incrementality testing, right? To know that like there was lift as a result of these activities, you wouldn't have gotten the purchase or the consumer, anyway. I think that that's really important. We talked a little bit about unique tracking mechanisms, QR codes, UTM links, promo codes, receipt scanning, encouraging customers to upload their receipts or scan their in-store purchases through an app, can tie online to offline. And then testing and optimizing continuously, because what's working today is not going to work tomorrow. So channel overlap analysis is important. O2O experiments are important. Testing what's driving in-store purchases. But accurately understanding customer discovery and research requires a connected omni-channel approach, and robust tracking, AI-powered insights, customer engagement tools. It's multifaceted, but there are plenty of brands and retailers that are doing this and connecting their O2Os and measurements.
Okay, yeah, I definitely agree. That multi-touch, that last click can be so misleading sometimes. You need to make sure you're looking holistically. We have time for just a few more questions. Let's get into them. What discovery and research channels are being undervalued by brands?
Oh, I have a lot. I've noticed myself, and we're investing in these areas too, but I really feel like Reddit and those types of online communities are like primed for advertisers. So Reddit in particular, or Quora, for example, those are where consumers are giving like genuine in-depth discussions about products before making purchases. So you can engage in relevant subreddits, right? Insert your brand in there. Use Reddit ads strategically to target high intent threads. Monitor discussions for real customer pain points. I think the second channel that's being overlooked is retail media networks and in-store digital ads. Brands often ignore advertising within these major retailer ecosystems. So Amazon, Walmart Connect, Target, Roundel, these are where high intent shoppers are already browsing. So sponsor product placements on retailers' websites, engage in creating digital signage and interactive kiosks at sites physical stores, location-based ads triggered when a customer enters a store, for example. And then the last one that I see being underutilized, surprisingly, is YouTube and longer form SEO. So a lot of brands are focusing on TikTok or Instagram Reels to create, snackable content, but they're underestimating in YouTube as a search engine, and users are really actively researching products. So create how-to guides, work with influencers and even micro YouTubers to offer authentic recommendations, and use shorts to boost product discovery in a fast, engaging format, pointing them to the longer form vision. But what I see more often than not is that brands overinvest in traditional paid media, while overlooking emergency and community-driven channels where consumer trust and engagement are the strongest. So it's about really embracing and kind of finding those alternate discovery channels. And I think you'll have a major advantage in capturing untapped audiences for sure.
Yeah, Cristy, you brought up so many different like search channels there. I mean, retail media, those are search channels. YouTube, that's a search channel. Reddit and Quora, search channels, and also are being surfaced on Google. I think that's really fascinating.
It is. It's a good point. I think customers are just so tired of hearing what brands have been saying. They're really looking for authentic voices of people they can trust to, identify the products to buy, and then, making sure that their ads and their marketing is, reaching those audiences is critical.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, we are down to our last question. And Cristy, it is also, I think, the most difficult question.
Great.
What is what is the one sentence summary of the key learning we should take away from this study? One sentence of the key learning we should take away from this study.
Marketers need to make a shift in order to acquire customers, period. The new consumer is not like other consumers. They're not going to respond to ads. It's really important that you shift your strategies and engage in people-based, recommendation-based channels. That's the takeaway.
Hey, so marketers need to shift their thinking. I love that. Thank you so much for being here, Cristy.
I appreciate it. It's
Yeah.
fun.
Thank you for all the great question and answering all the questions from our audience. We really appreciate it. For a deeper look at our survey results, you'll receive a copy of our report via email following today's broadcast. Before we wrap up, let me take a moment to tell you about eMarketer's media channels. Mark your calendars, the eMarketer Summit is back on Friday, February 7th. Our analysts, including me, will unpack the major trends shaping the creator economy for 2025. There will also be live panels with marketers from Taco Bell, Uber, and more. Registration is open on our events page at emarketer.com/events. While you're on that page, you can also register for more webinars just like this one. Don't forget to check out our podcasts, Behind the Numbers, Reimagining Retail, which I host, and the Banking and Payments Show. Listen everywhere you find podcasts and watch on Spotify and on eMarketer's YouTube channel. And finally, please subscribe to our newsletters. Keep an eye on your email for the link to today's playback. And of course, feel free to contact us if you have any other questions. Thank you all for your time. And thanks again to Cristy, the team at impact.com, and our eMarketer studio team behind the scenes for making this webinar possible. We'll see you all on the next Tech Talk.